This your boy Mikey B, Off Work Sports. We back in it this morning, and we talking about the fight last night. Bud versus the chocolate nugget from England, Kell Brook. Got it in. I thought it would be a better fight than what it was. The first 2 to 3 rounds went as expected. I thought the bigger Kell Brook would take advantage of his size advantage versus Bud Crawford, who's coming from a lower weight division, and would give him trouble. But guess what, man? We're starting to understand what Bud Crawford is. He's a scientist in the in the ring. Those 4 corners, that's his lab. He just figures out different concoctions to make things work. That's what I'm seeing, and I did not get it before. But his switch-up style, the way he's able to adjust, is starting to get scary. And now I'm worried about the one-track type fighters, such as the Errol Spence, who relies on inside power, beating up the body, and then breaking it down later on. You know, and then you talk about Pacquiao, an older Pacquiao. You know, a 30-year-old Pacquiao, 31-year-old Pacquiao. I'm sorry, bud. I think that'd be a very, very tough match for you. Very, very tough. 40-year-old Pacquiao with the jab that Mr. Bud Crawford has and his ability to switch up, has good speed. I think there's something special here, and we may be looking at the next champion. The effect of what he did to Kell Brook, who's coming off 3 wins, and we also have to remember that Kell Brook, you know, he had those injuries, right? The orbital bone on both sides. I think Golovkin, GGG got one side, and then Mr. What's the dude's name? Spence got the other side. There is requisite damage, kind of like a car accident. You get in an accident, that it's not always the same. It may be in your head, but it just doesn't feel the same. And with 2 big losses, with those impacts, and then Bud coming over, he came over, and it was a short right overhand. It wasn't even a body overhand where he put his weight into it, and Kell Brook went down, and I was like, wow, this is or was going down, went through the ropes. I was like, wow, that didn't even make sense, right? It was like, it didn't look crazy, but Bud has that, again, the unknown. When you hit somebody when they're not expecting it, I think that's where the KOs come in for the most part. It's the unexpected hit. You don't necessarily have to hit with great power, but if it comes from an angle where it's not expected, that's where the scariness comes through. So now as I look at that welterweight division, and there's so many fighters, and I tell you what, I love Bud Crawford as a fighter. He surprised me on how easily he took out Kell Brook after getting, I'm not going to say dominated, but the fight was headed towards a Kell Brook control win directive or progression. I'm gonna tell you something else, right? He wants Pacquiao. I heard Aram talking about Pacquiao and then Spence, right? Interesting, very interesting, but there's going to be a wait time for that, right? I don't know if it's going to be right away. I don't know how long that's going to take. Pacquiao has an upcoming fight. I would say there's other fighters in the realm, and I'm going to go here. All right. I would say another tune-up fight for Crawford, okay? Because I don't think Kell Brook brought forth the full repertoire. Kell Brook is a great technical fighter. If you could see the old Kell Brook, he was when he moved up in weight, it just jacks people up for some folks, right? Anyhow, I don't neg me. What about an Adrian Broner tune-up? I'm sorry. I don't want to do that to folks. What about an Adrian Broner tune-up? And then you go into you start fighting the big guys, right? Before jumping over to Spence. Because I still feel there's going to be an adjustment to the power. And Crawford definitely has it in this weight division due to the element of surprise. But I would like another tune-up fight. I just didn't like how fast this ended for him, man. It's like, man, boom, overhand right, short, half a body. I don't even see a body. It looked like an arm punch to me, and gone. and gone. And again, 3 rounds, 4 rounds. The jab was bothering Mr. Crawford. So if there's somebody that can switch up in styles and hit the jab from both angles, from the right stance, from the southpaw stance, maybe that's the guy that's going to give Kell Brook trouble. But even in this fight, Kell Brook had the reach advantage, which was interesting, versus Mr. Kell Brook. So you got Thurman, you got Garcia's, you got Spence's, I still put Broner there as somebody just to watch. You got Pacquiao. It's certainly an exciting division, and a lot of apples can fall. He definitely is a big name fighter and a champion. So if I'm his management team, I wouldn't listen to me and give him a tune-up fight with maybe like a Broner or somebody of that ilk. I would say yes, definitely Pacquiao first, because there's money in this game. And just imagine he loses to Broner. Fat chance. But just imagine he loses to a guy like Broner. Even though Broner, his name, again, a lot of people are disrespecting him, going, yeah, he's an F fighter. He gets in trouble. I get it. I understand that. Okay, to me, he's a B-. He's getting down to a B-. I had him as a B, but now he's a B- fighter. But he always has that element, that one element that you see of stardom that he's always had that could have propelled him to something greater. It just never kicked off because everyone knows the hands don't go. But if he loses Mr. Bud Crawford to Broner, then all the money's gone. Okay? That's why you need a manager. Because if it was for you, anyone talking trash, you'd be like, let's go. Let's do it. But there's chess moves that need to be played. This is not checkers. It's about your pockets. It's about your family and securing yourself for a long time. And what makes the most sense is, yes, go ahead and go after Manny Pacquiao. And if you beat him, set up the big Errol Spence fight. If that doesn't happen, if Thurman can get back in the health realm, I hope he gets healthy. I'm in the same area as him. He's in Tampa. Well, he was in Tampa. I would like to see maybe a Thurman versus a Crawford, even though that matchup for me, and Thurman needs a couple tune-up fights. I do not want to see Thurman come straight in and fight a big name, but he's in the same, he's another money boat, right? He's a money train, so it's going to be tough. You know, Thurman gets a couple tune-ups, maybe a Bud and Thurman, but the reach of Thurman, he's a long fighter. He fights from a distance. He can do that. Okay? That's going to be his problem. And then the other guy that no one's really talking about, the scariest guy in my opinion, who I think Bud doesn't want any part of and would be a dangerous fight, Sean Porter. Sean Porter would be a very dangerous fight for Bud Crawford because he's rough, he's football-y, but the precision and the commitment